2012 at 8 in the morning. Shortlisted candidates are to report with their original school certificates together with birth certificates and national identity cards. The dispatch ends. Officials of the Central Project Unit under the Ministry of Agriculture recently embarked on a familiarization tour of GDEP project intervention sites. The tour party was on the ground to gather first-hand information on the impact of the project on beneficiaries, constraints and way forward. Louis Mendy went along and he now reports.
The tour of GDEP project intervention sites embarked by Ibrahim Jawara, the head of the Central Project Unit at the Ministry of Agriculture, was to gather first-hand information about the impact of the project on beneficiaries, constraints and way forward. The 5-year poverty alleviation and food security project has two main components, horticulture and lowland development for rice cultivation. The lowland development initiative at Kombo-Lamin was the first project site visited. A 10-hectare piece of land is put under horticulture, vegetables and fruit trees production. From Lamin, Mr. Jawara and team proceeded to Kombo Faraba and Tampoto. Jawara at the sites expressed satisfaction with progress made, attributing it largely to farmers' hard work and cooperation with the project staff on the ground. Mr. Jawara urged farmers and youth to keep up the good work, something he described as the surest way to self-reliance in food. Gambians, Jawara went on, should therefore embrace his excellency the president back to the land call. Farmers' general reaction was that of joy. In each project site visited, Mr. Jawara donated farmers with cash amounting to $600, meant to boost their savings for increased production and productivity. The GDEP 5-year poverty alleviation and food security project focuses on horticulture and lowland development for rice cultivation. It exists in 47 villages across the country, 27 of them understood to have specialized in horticulture and the other 20 in rice cultivation. Louis Mendy, GRTS.
Well, time now to take our first break. When we come back, we'll take a look at the international news. Stay tuned in.
The world in your pocket.
The world on your mobile.
Get the latest top stories from all over the world directly from Al Jazeera Network straight to your AfriCell line. Breaking news,
political news,
and sport news.
Be the first to get the latest on everything happening around the world by SMS on your AfriCell line.
To subscribe, type SUB and send it by SMS to 7272.
And stay up to date with the latest news from Al Jazeera Network.
All the latest news stories and headlines from across the globe.
For $1 per day, only on your AfriCell line.
Gambia, Baratilen, Gouletchi Gambia, Titi on live bound, Titi from Dakar, Senegal, Titi with a new album, December 30th, Titi live and direct Birkama Joko, Birkama Kola Pare, Atolle Yaninka, Titi Fela Bina Sela Kotenke, more fireworks to Aketa Nunyamin, Dundan Tiketo, $200 isla before midnight, Titi Birkama Joko, Titi Gambia, New Year's Eve special, Gagne Parallel, Yon Yupping Khali Jamalita, Benjamin Night, send new place, Benjamin Night, next to Paradise Suite Hotel, Gagny, Moussoufé Am. Titi with a new look, Titi Barry Bagas Bond, Gagny Parallel, tickets individual, $1,500 is, diamond table, $15,000 is, platinum, $20,000 is, reservation, 308-5372, 786-7879, 308-5372, and 786-7879. Titi Gambia, New Year's Eve, Benjamin new look, to Paradise Suite Hotel, Gagny, Li Nananer.
Welcome back to the news. Militants in northern Mali have carried out another wave of what they refer to as the cleansing of the area of all anti-Islam practices. The members of Ansari Dine step up their destruction of mainly Sufi tombs in Timbuktu. The group spoke of its anger over the recent authorization by the UN to send an international force to deal with the insurgency in the north of Mali. Let's look at this report for more on that.
Islamic fighters in northern Mali had begun to destroy the historic mausoleums in Timbuktu 5 months ago. The Ansar Din group fighters were reacting then to a decision by UNESCO to put the city on its list of World Heritage Sites in danger. After a lull of several weeks, the Islamic fighters began smashing up the Sufi mausoleums that are hundreds of years old once again on Sunday. This time it appears to be a reaction to the United Nations Security Council decision to authorize the sending of an international force to the north of Mali. The decision was strongly criticized in Algiers by the Ansar Din.
It should be noted that we have always criticized this type of intervention. We have said that this is not a solution.
Under the auspices of Algeria, the Ansar Din have just concluded an accord with the MNLA, the National Azawad Liberation Movement, another Tuareg group. The Islamists say the crisis in Mali can be resolved through dialogue. But many analysts believe that this is part of their strategy to prevent the international community from using force against the even more radical Akim and Mujao groups.
An Afghan woman wearing the country's police uniform has shot dead a NATO advisor in a Kabul police headquarters. It is the latest in a series of shootings involving Afghan security forces on their NATO counterparts. And Russian President Vladimir Putin is on a visit to India. The trip is expected to open up new economic and military ties between the two countries.
A NATO advisor was killed on Monday in Kabul after a woman wearing an Afghan police uniform fired on the police headquarters. Since the beginning of the year, close to 60 NATO soldiers have been killed by Taliban who had infiltrated the armed forces. 5 people were also killed on Monday in the north of the country. Russia's president was on an official visit to New Delhi on Monday to reinforce economic ties with India. Vladimir Putin was accompanied by a number of important ministers and army leaders. He's expected to discuss military and energy contracts. India has become one of the world's main arms importers, and Russian equipment represents 70% of its acquisitions. The head of the Italian government, Mario Monti, said he was ready on Sunday to govern Italy again after February's parliamentary elections. The professor said he was ready to take the lead of a reforming political movement should he be asked. However, a parliamentary majority still needs to happen, as Silvio Berlusconi and his supporters have harshly criticized his action and his government, going as far as calling him a puppet of Angela Merkel. Heavy flooding has occurred in the United Kingdom. In the southwest of England, a number of train lines have been cut, while hundreds have had to be evacuated on Sunday. In Cornwall, 170 houses were affected. Fire brigades are intervening more and more in order to save trapped car drivers. And concerns are growing as more rain is predicted in the coming days.
Time now to take another break. We'll be right back.
naturel yii ci jonge épice ay marinade dina neex ba yokk sa appétit ak jonge épice jongeel ba sës jongeel ba faw ni jongeel ba ca biir cin.
Start your day with Armonti. Pure margarine with the best ingredients. Also ideal for frying and baking. Every day, an Armonti day.